Roberto?
Nick, after a couple of days to be able to absorb what happened in the last game, how do you evaluate how the team actually played, aside from the fact that you didn't get a goal, obviously, but how the team played and what you can take out of that for the game in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I thought we played really, really well. I thought the addition of Burke Risa and bringing Maxi back, I think you see the reason why we brought Burke in. He is given us a different dimension with his left foot and his range of passing. And Maxi, I think we saw one of Maxi Morales' performances where he is going to be really influential for us over the next 9 games. And everything apart from putting the ball in the goal in our box, I thought was exceptional. The last goal is what it is. I think their goal is a free, is a 30-yard hit, and I think we allowed them 1 goal chance. The Holongwane cutback, and we created 8 really, really good chances. So we need to, I say again, we need to execute. We need to become clinical in the opposition's box. But as a performance, taking away the result, I thought it was an excellent performance.
As there are 9 games to go now, and now the margin is 6 as opposed to 4. What's the mood in the room right now?
One of, I think initially after the game, it is one of disappointment and one of almost disbelief, in the sense of the performance again is exactly where we want it to be. We know that we have to take the chances, but it's not as if the game is 8-7 in goal chances and we're going gung-ho and opening a game and almost living on the edge. We're controlling the game completely. And they score a goal that is hit from 30 yards and comes off a deflection. And we don't score. So I think initially it's one of disbelief and disappointment. I think once you let the emotions settle, it's one of determination and the mood of just want to attack the situation now. Ultimately, we can't control the moment that they score from the first goal, but what we can do is completely just go and be free and go and attack the games and keep the performance level where it is and have real confidence that we can convert those chances into goals and take wins.
One last one for me. Cincinnati last night playing 120 minutes. They've lost now 3 in a row throughout all competitions. How do you view the game, and how much of an advantage is it for you that they had to play that long under those conditions?
I mean, if I look at it from myself, it's not ideal. It's not ideal to play, midweek when the opposition doesn't play. We've had many of those situations over my time here. And it is complex because the other team is resting and preparing while you're focusing on another team. But they are also top of the league and in real form. And although they've lost 3 games, I think they'll be high on confidence from the fact they got to a semi-final of an Open Cup. And, they sit on, 51 points, I think. It's a strong position to be in. So we know they're going to be really dangerous. We know they have a really good atmosphere and crowd there. And that is due to their current success. But I say again, I don't think the opposition is even in our minds at the moment. I think it's ultimately about just going and attacking football games and being ourselves and going and playing and trusting that, we've had good performances this year. We have 6 additions to the team that are going to help us, and that if we can continue to dominate teams, we should turn losses and previously draws into wins.
Going on to the Zoom, Andrew.
Hi, Coach. Thank you for the time. Now that you've kind of come back from the layoff after the Leagues Cup and had the sort of 1 match against Minnesota, do you view the sort of 3-match week coming up as an sort of extra urgent stretch where you kind of need to start collecting more wins and getting the results you guys need to kind of keep the playoffs as a realistic goal? And have you kind of sensed any extra urgency either from like the front office or yourself? Have you sort of discussed it with the team that this is kind of like a stretch where you have 2 home matches after the Cincinnati game as well? I know it's like 1 game at a time is always the focus, but I guess is that sort of a thing that you're looking at right now?
Yeah, I think ultimately for us is about, as a staff and as a performance team, is the focus for the team is on the next game. But for us, we have to look at how we're going to collect, not just 3 points, but how we're going to collect enough points, because the belief of getting above the line is there. The performance has only reinforced the belief. we have to execute better in our box. We know that. We know that, maybe there's been games previously, Houston away, Toronto away, those games where we didn't create a lot of chances. And over the last 4 or 5 games we have. If we look at Charlotte, Columbus, Philly, those games, the stats tell us that we should have more points and we should be in winning football games, but we're not. So, that gives us belief, that gives us confidence that we can go out and we can be in a game. We're yet to be blown out of a game. And I look at results across the leagues where that is happening, but we're not winning football games and we have to execute in the opposition's box better. The next game is the most important, but of course, getting back to our home and performing like we did against Minnesota and winning is 100%, the goal for the team.
Christian? Joel?
Hey, Coach, you were talking earlier about how dangerous Cincinnati can be. 2 names that come to mind that are super dangerous are Luciano Acosta along with Brandon Vasquez. Vasquez has scored against you guys in both games this year. Acosta, I believe, has 4 goal involvements in the last 3 domestic games. What do you guys need to do differently to keep those guys in check?
I think ultimately, if you watch the first game in the Open Cup when Brandon Vasquez scores from a corner, it's a really cheap goal from us. And we created chances in that game. We lost 1-0 in the Open Cup. And, I think we were disappointed more than, crediting Brandon Vasquez is a good header, but it's a cheap one from us. I think in the home games, we played really, really well in that first half. We scored a goal that was chalked off wrongfully, in my opinion. We should be going into halftime at 1-0. Up and we're 1-0 down from their first shot of the game. And I think you see the quality of Luciano Acosta in that moment that, it's a half chance and he puts it in the top corner. He is a really, really good player. I watched the game last night and you see how he really dictates the offense of Cincinnati. So we're going to have to keep him quiet. We're going to have to, we did with Reynoso, have the focus on how to stop those guys. I actually thought we did a really good job on Reynoso in the Minnesota game. Although we lost the game, I don't think we allowed him any moments to really create or score or take chances. So we'll have to have that focus again. But for us, it's about making sure that we keep the performance level where it was against Minnesota, where it was away at Columbus, it was away at Philly. But we have to go and execute better. We have to make sure that we are better in our box than we were in the Philadelphia game, because I thought we gave away 2 cheap goals, and we have to take our chances and we have to execute better in the offense, in the opponent's box, because ultimately we have to score more goals. We score goals, we win football games.
Christian, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. You touched on Cincinnati's form. What could a victory this weekend do for your team's momentum in terms of the games that come up afterwards?
Yeah, I think we had a really positive 16 days off, and then, such a disappointing loss because of the additions of the new players, because of the performance and the chances that we created. We feel like we just need that little spark to really propel us forwards, because we know we can perform well. We know we can create chances. We know we can restrict the opponent to chances, and doing that in 2 really difficult places like Philadelphia and Columbus give us confidence going away from home. But we have to, I say again, we have to execute those moments. We have to absorb the pressure and absorb the playoff run, all of the noise around that, and just focus on winning a football game. Because I feel if we can really move forward and take a win at Cincinnati, it will give us such a platform into 2 home games to really get some momentum in our form.